History has its fair share of strange echoes. But what if I told you about identical twin boys, separated at birth, who were both named James by their adoptive parents, and that both of them married women named Linda, divorced them, and then remarried women named Betty? It sounds impossible, but their story is real, and it's just one of the coincidences we're looking at today that will make you question everything. Some moments in history are so improbable, so perfectly timed, that they feel like a glitch in the Matrix. These aren't just fun trivia, they're stories that challenge our ideas of chance and fate. From prophecies that seem to come true to doppelgangers living uncannily parallel lives, we're counting down the most bizarre historical coincidences you've probably never heard of. Let's start with those twins. Born in Ohio in 1940, they were adopted by different families at just 3 weeks old. One was named James by the Lewis family, the other was named James by the Springer family. They grew up only 40 miles apart, but had no idea the other existed. It wasn't until Jim Lewis was 39 that he tracked down his long-lost twin, and that's when the coincidences started to feel unreal. Both Jims had a childhood dog named Toy. In school, both were good at math and woodworking, but hated spelling. Both grew up to work in law enforcement, one as a security guard, the other as a deputy sheriff. But it gets even weirder. Both Jims married a woman named Linda. After both of those marriages ended in divorce, they both remarried women named Betty. Each Jim had a son, and they named them James Allen and James Allen, respectively. They both drove the same model of light blue Chevrolet, chain-smoked the same brand of cigarettes, and vacationed on the exact same small stretch of beach in Florida. When they were finally reunited in 1979, their similarities were so striking they became the focus of a famous study on nature versus nurture. Their mannerisms, habits, and even the patterns of their tension headaches were nearly identical. So, what are the chances? Is it just a wild genetic lottery, or is it proof of some invisible thread connecting two lives across decades? Next, we head to Italy for a tale that sounds like it was ripped from a fairy tale, though it ends like a tragedy. This one is a classic historical legend, and while the details are fuzzy, the story is too good not to tell. On July 28, 1900, King Umberto I of Italy was dining at a small restaurant in the town of Monza. When the owner came to greet him, the king was stunned the man was his perfect double. As the two men talked, the reported coincidences became almost unnerving. The restaurant owner's name was also Umberto. The story claims both men were born on the same day, March 14, 1844, in the same town. They had both married women named Margherita on the same day, and both had a son named Vittorio. Completely astonished, the king invited his doppelganger to an event the next day, but the meeting never happened. The next morning, the king was told his double had been killed in a shooting accident. Shaken, the king carried on with his duties. Later that day, as he greeted a crowd, an anarchist stepped out and assassinated him. Two nearly identical men, living parallel lives, who met by chance only to die on the same day. Is it a true story of a shared fate, or just a fantastic legend that got better with every retelling? Some coincidences feel less like chance and more like a warning. This brings us to the supposed curse of Tamerlane. Tamerlane, also known as Timur, was a fearsome 14th century conqueror. He was buried in a grand mausoleum in modern-day Uzbekistan, under a tombstone that carried a grim inscription, "When I rise from the dead, the world shall tremble." Legend insists another inscription was even more direct. Whoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I. For centuries the tomb remained sealed. But in June 1941, a team of Soviet anthropologists, sent by Stalin himself, arrived to excavate it. Locals and clergy begged them not to, fearing the ancient curse. The scientists laughed it off as superstition. On June 20th, 1941, they opened Tamerlane's sarcophagus. 2 days later, on June 22nd, Adolf Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, the surprise invasion of the Soviet Union. An invader far more terrible than Tamerlane had been unleashed, plunging the nation into the bloodiest conflict in its history. The story doesn't stop there. As the war raged, the rumor of the curse reportedly reached Stalin. In late 1942, he supposedly ordered Tamerlane's remains be returned to his tomb with full Islamic burial rites. In a twist that cemented the legend, just weeks after Tamerlane was reinterred, the Red Army won its first major victory at the Battle of Stalingrad. A turning point in the war, a fluke of timing, or a curse fulfilled and then appeased. What happens when a horror story bleeds into reality in the most gruesome way imaginable? In 1838, Edgar Allan Poe published his only full-length novel, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. In it, 4 shipwrecked sailors are starving at sea. To survive, they draw lots and decide to kill and eat the cabin boy, a young man named Richard Parker. Poe himself later called the book very silly. But 46 years later, in 1884, life imitated art with chilling precision. A yacht called the Mignonette sank, leaving 4 crew members adrift on a lifeboat. After weeks without food or water, 3 of the men made a horrific choice. They killed and ate the 4th member, a 7-year-old cabin boy. His name was Richard Parker. The story goes that on December 5, 1664, a passenger boat sank in the strait. Of the 81 people on board, only 1 survived, a man named Hugh Williams. Over a century later, on December 5, 1785, another ship went down in the same waters. All 60 passengers died, except for 1 man. His name? Also Hugh Williams. Then, in 1820, a 3rd vessel sank. All 25 aboard were lost, except for a single survivor named, you guessed it, Hugh Williams. Now, as you might expect with a tale this good, historians see it as more of a legend than fact. No contemporary records have been found to confirm all 3 events as described. While Hugh Williams was a very common name in Wales, the idea of this pattern repeating is just too perfect. It's a story that became a legend among sailors, a reminder that the sea has its own strange and repeating mysteries. Sometimes, a coincidence isn't about what happened, but what almost did. On Christmas Eve of 1800, Napoleon Bonaparte was on his way to the opera in Paris. He was running late and, in a moment of impatience, reportedly told his carriage driver to speed up. He had no idea that assassins had set a trap for him along the route. They had rigged a cart with a massive barrel of gunpowder, an infernal machine. As Napoleon's carriage approached, a conspirator lit the fuse. But because the carriage was moving faster than expected, it raced past the spot just seconds before the bomb went off. The explosion was huge, killing several bystanders and destroying buildings. But Napoleon was completely unharmed. And here's where a small, personal detail enters the story, or at least the legend surrounding it. His wife Josephine's carriage was following behind, but she had been delayed by a friendly debate over which shawl to wear. That tiny delay meant her carriage hadn't reached the blast zone. A leader's impatience and an argument over fashion. Two small, random events that stopped the course of European history from being violently changed forever. So, what are we to make of all this? From twins living impossibly similar lives to a curse that seemed to come true, these stories blur the line between chance and something more. They show us that no matter how much we think we know, history is often shaped by unbelievable connections we can never fully explain. We look for patterns and we search for meaning, but sometimes reality is just far stranger than fiction. What do you think? Are these just incredible flukes of probability, or is there something more going on? Let me know your favorite historical coincidence in the comments below.